Richards, and back there is Ed Evans. And I have a great board. These guys are workers, and the ones that aren't here, Josh Kemp and Kathleen Zapata, they're workers too. When people talk about Skaneateles, they often say it's a special, unique little place. And usually they're referring to our lake and our restaurants and the charm, but it's unique for other reasons too. We are the only municipality in Onondaga County, and probably beyond that, that has 3 utilities that we manage. We have our own electric department, and many of the municipalities use National Grid. We have our own water department. Once again, many are connected to Aqua. And we have our own treatment facility, and there are many connected to the Onondaga County treatment facility. We are the only place that has 3 utilities. And all of us, the community and myself, are very lucky to have Tom Vasella managing all 3 of those utilities. And he's the one that we'll be talking to tonight, and I'm very proud to introduce Tom Vasella.
So welcome everybody. I'm glad you guys made it out on this snowy evening. I can tell you why it's snowing, but I'm sure the people in the room know why. I want to talk today a little bit about our electric infrastructure. There's probably a lot of questions that you have. We're going to try to hold them off to the end. We're going to really try to focus on the infrastructure, the condition, what we've done and what we want to do, and then we can take some questions at the end, unless it's something I said wrong or something like that. So let's get started. I'll share with you my agenda if my technology works. So there's our agenda. We're going to start off with some introductions. I want to introduce some of my team. We're going to talk a little bit about our system. I'll highlight the electric system and the progresses we've made. We'll talk about some future needs. We are going to review some electrical costs, because I'm going to guess some of you are pretty interested in that these days. And then we're going to talk about the IEEP, the Independent Energy Efficiency Program. And that's something that you need to know about, because it really helps you to keep your energy costs in check. I'm not only managing our village electric here, but I'm also municipal electric back at home. And I took advantage of that and saved some real money recently after spending a lot on a new furnace. Okay, so this is your municipal operations team. We're going to focus on the left side for electric, but that's all of us. All the utilities that Mary talked about, the DPW, the roads, the sidewalk, everything, that's all of us. That's all of us. That's all I got. It's not a very big team. I'm very proud of that team. They work tirelessly to maintain that village the way we want it. It's really hard with some of the snow we've had, the wind we've had, the old trees, the old poles. I hope some of you had a chance to check out some of our poles. The one on the right was from Kelly Street. I'm not actually sure what the one on the left was, but that's not uncommon to find out in our system right now. We're going to be holding similar events. In 2 weeks, we're going to do a water sewer discussion. And then 2 weeks after that, on March 10th, we're going to be talking about the DPW, village operations, the clerk's office, the village office, police, the fire department. We'd like to see you all come back out for that. It'll be at the same bat time, same bat place. Okay? So we're going to start with meeting cause. My name is Tom Vasella. I have been in this industry for 33 years. I started my career at Monroe County. That's where I live, out in Fairport. I worked for the Department of Environmental Services. I started out in the field managing contractors. We replaced sewers and manholes, catch basins, laterals. We did a lot of other things as well. We were one of the go-to departments. I was at DES for over 20 years, working my way through engineering, operations, and ultimately ended my time at DES after 23 years as the Chief Detective Operations. That's where I gained experience managing two of their largest wastewater treatment plants. So I've got a lot of municipal experience that I bring to this village. I also spent some time at the Water Authority, so that was kind of helpful because we have our own water. While the majority of my experience has been in water, wastewater, highways, things like that, the last 4.5 years, I've been here for 4, I have been working in electric. I had a short stint in Bath, and Bath is a municipal electric as well. With that, I will introduce our Deputy Director and have him tell you a little bit about himself. Cosmo?
Cosmo Pagano, I'm a licensed engineer here in New York. I was a consultant for 18 years with various municipalities, ranging from Westchester County all the way through Malone, Potsdam, for projects in the environmental sector, predominantly parks, wastewater treatment plants, water treatment plants, transportation projects, sidewalks, roads, bridges, kind of the clerk of the works, we'll call it. Everything from how to get them permitted, how to get them funded, how to get them executed, and how to run a municipality. So, that's my 20 years before joining Tom here at the team. It was time to, instead of be on the consultant side of things, be on the ownership side of things, and really start to make some changes in communities. So, thanks.
Okay, so before we get into the rest of the slideshow, I want to introduce some of my team that are here today. I'll start with, in the corner here, is our Assistant Superintendent of Water and Sewer. That's Seth Kiefer. In the opposite corner is our Assistant Superintendent of DPW. That's Eric Sell. And next to him is one of our line workers with a little over 10, 12 years of experience, is Rich Benish. And next to him is our homegrown Skaneateles, Kyle Pavlis. He just finished his journeyman. We're very proud of him. He's been with us a little over 4 years, and we went to Fairport to celebrate with a whole lot of his friends, and I'll explain some of that later, but Kyle's one of our journeyman line workers as well. Thanks for coming, guys. So when I started in January of 2022, this was our electric and water team. We had one journeyman, which was Jim Dries. He's been here for 20 plus years. And we had Kyle, who had started in October the year before. Kyle had come from line school and was trying to get into line work and get his apprenticeship done, get trained, and become a journeyman lineman. Jim spent the majority of his time in the water department, doing the sampling, the hydrant flushing, dealing with calls, shut-offs, meter issues, meter readings. We did the best we could back then in 2022 with what we had. And we relied a lot on contractors when we needed to, but Kyle and Jim did what they could to keep the lights on, and we really only did everything by whatever broke we fixed, we tried to fix. This is how we're organized today. There's a whole lot more of us, thankfully. We have Rich and Kyle. We also have Corey, and we did bring on in September, I think it was, we brought on another apprentice, and I'll explain why. But we feel like this is a good spot to be in. We may go one more apprentice, but this is a good team. We're getting a lot of really good work done with this team. I have to mention these two guys. So in April of last year, John and Jeff and Rich joined us. John and Jeff have over 40 years of line work experience. They were instrumental, and Kyle will tell you this, instrumental in helping Kyle be successful in getting his journeyman card. Instrumental in helping Corey get some experience in the bucket truck. A lot of the work that we did when John and Jeff were here. And we will be forever grateful. They say if you make a friend in life, you're good. I made 2 good friends. I still talk to Jeff. John's still around. Jeff just sent me a couple of apprentices applications. He's like, go to Skaneateles. They're a good group of people. That's a big deal. That would have never happened before 2021, 2022. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted Jeff and John because they really helped us out. I've said qualified electrical professional, journeyman. I'm saying that because it's important. Qualified electrical professional, they get over 7,000 hours of work. They do everything from schooling to out in the field. Why is that important? Because as the QEP, sorry, more acronyms in this business. As the QEP, that allows them to work within the zone to get us the electric, to be able to work safely. There's an approach distance that we can't get into, that they are able to get into because they're qualified electrical professionals. They do annual training, regular training through the MEUA, which we'll get into, so that they maintain safety. We've got a dozen or so classes that we attend every year on the same topic, repetition. We talk about safety, and the trainer tells stories over and over again about safety. And you just can't get enough of that. Let's talk a little bit about our system. This is a shot of our primary substation on Genesee Street behind Valentine's. We have about 10 miles of overhead wire. We have roughly 550 utility poles. There's 246 street lights. Those are on the utility poles, and 134 ornamental lights. We have several underground systems. Our hydro allotment is 5,189 kilowatts. And our maximum 20-year delivered peak we hit last June when it was really hot at 6.984 kilowatts. We were probably one of the first municipal electrics to become a summer peaking system. So typically most of them peak in the winter when everybody's trying to heat their house with electricity. We peak in the summer when everyone's trying to cool their house with electricity, because we still have some folks around here that have gas. I mean, we're still really close to that in the winter. We're still at 6.7, 6.6, but that was the peak in June of last year for summer. As a municipal electric organization, we're part of the Municipal Electric Utilities Association. I've been on the executive committee for that for 4 years now. I am the current president. We'll be holding our annual meeting this October at the Skaneateles Fields, which everyone's really excited about. I found the people that I've met there, the relationships that I've formed, the camaraderie that we've developed as we go to all these meetings and talk about all this electric stuff have been invaluable to the village. I came here not knowing anybody in the area because I came from Monroe County. I can now pick up the phone call and call Solvay, I can call Groton, I can call Green, I can call Fairport, and if we need help, they come. And they come and help us. And Fairport's been out 3 or 4 times in the last 6-8 months. We have had Fairport, Solvay, Marathon, all here. You all probably remember the power outage on the west side in February of 23. Solvay came to help us with that. Fairport and Marathon came in over the summer when we shut down Fennel Street for a day. We did all that pole work. I think we did over a dozen poles plus with 1 Marathon crew, our 2 crews, and 3 or 4 Fairport crews. The most important part of the MEUA is to provide information and to educate. We educate you all, we educate village boards, municipal boards, and we educate ourselves. We have regular meetings, we do all the training through the MEUA for the apprenticeship programs, all the safety training for the line workers, all come through the MEUA. So it's a really critical part of the organization, and really glad that we're a member with 39 of our closest friends. This is a little snapshot of our system. The electric formation was in 1903. We have 1,600, a little over 1,600 customers. Our load, like I said, hovers around 7,000 kilowatts. We have roughly a $3 million budget, and you've seen the four individuals that are running this field work. Municipal electric around the nation is generally the lowest cost power in the nation. We average about a third to a half of the independently operated utilities. Those are the profit ones, the national grids, the NYSEGs, out my way, the Western Gas and Electrics. We like to say we're proud of our reliable energy, we're proud of our quick responses, and we're proud of our customer service. Rich, Jeff, and John came from National Grid, and they would tease because when y'all would call us and say, hey, I got a tree limb in my power line, our guys went out. We were there typically within an hour. If it was during the day, within 10 minutes. And Jeff's like, we wouldn't get the call for weeks. They would not, it's just what we pride ourselves in. I think that's a really big part of municipal electric, is that customer service. Hey, Josh.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Trying to sneak it.
So some of the progress we've made with our team, and a lot of this has happened really in the last couple of years, which I'm really excited about. So we grew the team from 1 line worker and 1 apprentice to 4 journeyman line workers and an apprentice. We started to do a lot of preventive maintenance in our substations and our transformers. We replaced 600 feet of underground wire on Genesee Street. Y'all remember that? That was the line underneath the front of the Sherwood that went out. We fixed that one. And when we fixed that one, we solved a whole lot of issues because that was a remnant issue of the tree that came down. And I tried to do some research because I wasn't here, but I think that was like 2018-ish.
July.
Right? July 2018?
The July weekend. 18?
So that tree came down, messed up a couple circuits, and then the phase underneath the sidewalk in front of the Sherwood just got overloaded from all the current that was going through it because we had moved some things around to make up for that. And we rewired some lights. We put some new lights along the seawall. We put in a new fountain. We needed to bring all new power back there, so our team did all that in-house. We had made a lot of progress on a substation that we're trying to get up and running on Fennel Street. If many of you have been down the north end of Fennel, down by our DPW, and you happen to look over to the left as you're heading north, you'll see the large tan box that I picture here. That is our Fennel Street substation. We purchased that substation in about 2014-ish from the Village of Bath. We did some work back in 2014-15 to get that in place, delivered here, put in place. We did some work, but we never got it all the way finished. And it sat for a while, a long while. When we hired the team, we started working in earnest with the team, with National Grid. We changed a bunch of the poles that you see up here. We made it better, safer with double arms. We did all the testing that we could for the high power side of the transformer with National Grid. We worked with National Grid, and I had great support from Mary and Ed to get them here to put this pole in and to tie these wires in. So that substation right now could go live if we finish the other side. We have to finish the other side. We have to change some relays because, believe it or not, it sat in Bath for a while. It sat here for a while. So a lot of the relays that are on the low side, which is this side here, that will provide power into our system, are antiquated and obsolete. So we've got design drawings out. We're getting ready to try to go out to bid for that if we can get some funding and get that fixed. Once we fix that, we will start to energize that substation. And the plan for that substation is to power all of Fennel Street and take the circuit off of Genesee Street and bring it here. And then take the north end of Jordan Circuit and bring it here. The other bonus to having this here and why it's important to get this operational is if I need to do any maintenance, or we need to do any maintenance on the Genesee Street substation, we can power a circuit from this substation and keep all of you in power while we do the work safely in the substation on Genesee Street. Does that make sense? Really important. I think theoretically that system could run sharing the load and balancing the load from Fennel Street and Jordan Street. And Mary and Ed'll tell you, we worked hard with National Grid to make that work. Some more progress that we made, we've replaced in those 2 years 57 old poles. Most of them look like that at the top. We established participation in the, and this is Mary Ellen's favorite acronym, ENGINE's National Joint Utility Notification System. We've done all of our double wood. This is what double wood is. You see the one pole with the 2 cross arms on it? See the pole next to it? That's the old pole. That's the double wood. When Rich and Kyle finished their work, they cut the pole down to a foot or so above the other utility, and that's where it stayed, right, Mary Ellen? That's where it stayed.
Onondaga Street.
Onondaga Street's a good example. We try really hard to keep notifications going in. I know Kyle's starting to put in notifications on a regular basis when we change out poles. You know, like I've said to Mary Ellen and anybody else that calls, squeaky wheel gets the grease. We try to notify people. We try to tell them they got to come in here and do this stuff. Like I said, I live in Fairport, and the pole behind my house literally got cut last year. It was changed 20 years ago. I didn't even notice it. I was so used to seeing it there. When it was gone, I was like, where'd that logo? But that's how long it takes, unfortunately. So we've been there. We began regular and routine tree maintenance. We do a lot of that in-house. We do some of that with contractors. We do big streets like Genesee Street. We did Jordan and some of the other bigger streets. And this beautiful truck is our new bucket truck. We purchased that second bucket truck summer of 24. Summer of 24, I think we got that. When we had more people, we needed more trucks. So we were able to get this one. And Kyle and Corey were doing a transformer on, I think it was Griffin. And I'm like, we have to get a smaller truck. You can't get around the truck when the outriggers are all down and Kyle's up in the bucket. How do you get around the truck? People are jumping curves. So this has really helped us to work in some of those tighter streets that we have around here in the village. This is some more work that we've done. We've rebuilt the electrical infrastructure on Kelly Street. We did that as part of the bridge project. We did Austin Street. That's what a lot of these photos are. Austin Street is in preparation for the Fennel Street taking power into Jordan Street. We've done a lot of Fennel Street. Again, same thing, preparation for getting power out of the Fennel Street substation. One of the first ones we did was on Onondaga Street. Those poles were really bad. And now we're working, I think we're still working on Day Lane, right? We're still finishing that up on Day.
That's all done.
Yeah, we're
It's
wrapped
done?
up.
We're done, good. New monitoring equipment, if you go down to the substation, you'll see these little footballs on our primary circuits. We're monitoring those. We're monitoring harmonics, voltage, amperage. We're monitoring weather and wind. We've got a ton of data that we need to try to sift through and figure out what's going on and how to get after to balance our loads and transfer energy efficiently in our system. And as you all know, we worked with the New York Power Authority to put in the charging stations at the municipal lot in the northeast corner there. Future needs. So some of the future needs, this is just a snapshot of what we have to talk about, what we have to do. It could go on, and I'll show you another slide in a minute. But you know, Fennel Street's going to need 170 or so thousand just to get it operational. We've got the Valentine overhead, which I'll show you a picture of, that needs to be buried underground. That project kind of started before we got here. We do need a new bucket truck. That bucket truck goes down. It takes us usually way longer than needed because we can't find parts. It's obsolete, and we can't find anybody locally to work on it. Locally, there's a big company called Altech. That's who we bought our other truck from. They won't even touch our bucket truck. It's just too old. They won't take the liability. So we would like to get a new bucket truck here soon to keep doing the work we're doing. Believe it or not, our electric barn does not have a generator. So when the power goes out, in order to get the trucks out, these guys jump on the trucks, disengage the garbage disposal, disengage the garage opener and open the door by hand. These aren't garage doors like ours at our house. These are 12-foot giant garage doors that have to let the big trucks out. Not ideal. We want to get a new chipper. The one we have keeps breaking hydraulic lines. It's pretty old. We would at some point consider doing a conversion. A lot of people are doing meter conversions to go to better data collection, so you're not sending meter readers out and collecting data. I know Lori would really love better data coming in for our meters. And then transclosures. Transclosures are a lot of what you see out there. They're basically boxes with the round transformers sitting in them. We would want to get real transformers, like the ones you see out here and what we put in at the showroom. So those are just a couple of the future needs. I'm going to show you some pictures, and I'm going to show you some pictures just to kind of give you a sense for the condition of our system. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to be gloom and doom. I just want you all to see the condition of what we have. What we have is working. Obviously, the lights are all still on, but it's well beyond its useful life. It's effective useful life. We want to get out, and a lot of this stuff is long lead times. COVID didn't help us with any of that, and it hasn't quite caught up. With the larger equipment, it's the substation equipment, you're looking at 3-4 months, sometimes longer for some of this stuff. So we want to try to plan this. We want to get it out and get it replaced before it's a problem. We don't really want to have to bring everybody in the middle of the night, call in Fairport, call in Solvay, try to figure this out under duress. It's not ideal. So this is the Genesee Street substation. You'll notice a lot of rust on the circuit breaker, a lot of rust on these regulators. Again, I don't want to scare anybody. That stuff still works. These guys are really good at making it work, and they keep working on it. But it's time. It's time to start to change some of this stuff and make it more reliable. We deserve that as a community, I think. That is a 4x4 post holding up that electric conduit. Again, it's been there, Kyle, I think it's been there, we don't even know, we can't even figure out how long it's been there for a while. It initially was a resource thing, we didn't have the manpower to do it, now we have the resources from a labor perspective. Now we need to be able to figure out how to make sure everybody stays in power. We take that down and we fix it. And that's part of why Fennel Street is important, that's part of why funding is so important. To deal with some of this stuff that you just scratch your head and say, how is that still there? So we talked about the Valentine's circuits, or pole I mean, and burying that. That is 3 of our 5 circuits. That's Eastern, Western, and Onondaga. This is the picture of it right outside the substation. This is the picture of it. Does anybody know where that is? Nobody probably ever saw it besides.
Yeah.
So that is right next to the parking lot at Valentine's. And it goes from there, it goes down the pole and into a manhole that's right in the sidewalk outside of the parking lot at Valentine's. I'm really happy this pole is here right now, believe it or not, because if you can see it right about there, there's a light $26. Your purchase power adjustment for this month was $92.29. When you add it all up and do the division, we're at just about 10 cents a kilowatt. That's pretty good. I was able to grab a national grid bill, similar in usage, just a little bit less. There, you probably can't read it, but up in here, up in here they have a similar, charge that says delivery and then power, similar to us. Their total electric bill is $258.71. They're closer to 23 cents a kilowatt hour for National Grid, so a little more than double us. Now, I think we put out a bunch of information, don't really want to get into the weeds on this, it's a super complicated issue, but the last 8 days of January, our bill for the New York Municipal Power Authority, so places we get the bulk of our energy, the last 8 days was $20 million for the entire state. It was about 3 million, they pay every Friday, it was about 3 million a Friday up until then, and then it went to $20 million. I think I told Mary, I was on the phone for 3 straight days trying to figure this out, because they have to pay on Friday, and they don't bill us until they just sent the bills yesterday. So we had to scramble, take out letters of credit, and pay the 20. I think it ultimately ended up being 30 million all in, but the New York Municipal Power Agency, which you see the signs in here for, they are our procurement of purchase power. They do all the buying for the entire organization, and they saved us about $5 million in hedging. So without them, we would have probably been paying close to 25 cents a kilowatt hour, which is unheard of for municipal electric. Unheard of. So these are some of the things, like I said before, that you all can do. A lot of this stuff is on our website. I won't read you all of the slides, but the Independent Energy Efficiency Program is out there for municipal customers, for you all to take advantage of, to do all sorts of energy efficient projects, and buying electric battery operated lawn equipment. So here are some of the rebates that are available: air sealing and insulation, changing your heat pumps and your hot water to high efficiency equipment, Energy Star appliances, battery powered yard care equipment, and LED lighting. All the forms are on our website, and they are also up here if anybody wants them to take with them. There are some commercial, right? There are some commercial benefits to changing LED lights and things like that. I think I guessed that right?
I'm not commercial.
You're not commercial?
No.
Okay, good. And that's some more of the information that we just went over fast. And I'm going fast because I realized that I've talked for way more than 20 minutes. Sorry, Mary. I knew this was going to happen. And that's the contact. Again, it's on our village website. Lori keeps it very up to date. I find that Mike is very easy to talk to and work with. Like I said, I just did it at the end of last year. So that's it. Thank you. So we're going to have any questions, and if you have questions, you ask Ed. That is one brave man right there. That ice was 2 feet thick. So questions, please.
Hey,
I'll do my best,
before we
Nancy.
do questions, you're going to introduce the members of our municipal board who are here?
I'd love to. Can I do that?
That would be great.
So we have our chairman, Kevin,
Good.
Lee, and Mary Ellen. I couldn't see you. Lee and Mary Ellen, and Mike.
I'm not
in the
that
back.
short.
They are an amazing municipal board. We have amazing conversations.
You've got one.
Oh, I did. I just had Mike. Yeah, you wait. Mike's our senior member now, right? You've probably been on the board the longest.
Believe it or not.
So can you explain what the municipal board does?
The municipal board is our board to manage our water, sewer, electric, and DPW. We talk about budgets, we talk about infrastructure. All of this should not be a surprise to any of them, because I talk to them ad nauseam about all of this. They review the annual reports with me that we file with the Public Service Commission. We do critical impact statements for the planning board and the ZBA. What else am I missing? We do talk a lot about rates and
Incidents.
incidents, and occasionally we talk about double wood poles. Every once in a while that comes up. They're a great board. They're a great board. conversations across the board, water, sewer, electric, everywhere.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is it possible to purchase more hydropower?
It is not.
And that's because they're
There's
maxed out?
only so much water you can get down the river.
We got to have water in the river.
Somehow, apparently the ice cap melting isn't quite helping us. Right now, the river's frozen. The nameplate, we're not quite getting to nameplate hydro right now. Some of you may remember last fall, we were working with the New York Power Authority, and they were proposing some pretty dramatic increases because they have billions of dollars to spend in their infrastructure. We wrote a bunch of letters. We had a couple of our larger customers write letters. It got the governor's attention, and she put the stop to that, thankfully. Since then, we've been able to negotiate the MEUA, the NIPA group, with the New York Power Authority and our downstate partners, and we feel like we've got a really good plan for the next 10 years. So as a civil and environmental engineer, that's the frustrating part to me, is you're going to spend all this money to get better pumps, better impellers, better turbines, more efficient equipment, and you're not getting any more hydropower out of the whole thing. That's what's frustrating. But that's the reality. There's only so much water you can get down the river. Anything else? Is that deep? Yes.
I guess this is a political question. I mean, we're getting a deal on our electric, as are all the municipal power groups. Are there any entities that feel that's not fair and that somehow are trying to engage with the state to take that away, in the sense that why should they pay more, and folks that are lucky enough to live in a place like here don't?
So we have a contract, because of the Niagara Power Project back in the early 70s, we have a contract through 2040. And so that can't change. The MEUA will do everything in its power to continue with that contract. Because municipal electric is valuable to all of us around the state. I see it continue. We work hard to make sure that we keep the rates as low as we possibly can, where we can control it. What we can't control it is in the purchase power. We can't do anything about that. And that's across the board. Everybody in New York State pays those rates, right? And yeah, I mean, National Grid would love to come in here and run this utility at 23 cents a kilowatt hour. And then that hydropower that we get at 5.1 megawatts just goes back to the New York Power Authority, and they sell it for way more than they sell it to us. They're not going to we're not going to take that 5 and divvy it up amongst 40 of us and say, okay, we're now only 39, so hey guys, here's my 5 megawatts of power, have fun with it. Mike was going to say, thank you. Who wants it at 25 cents a kilowatt? So we try really hard to keep the municipal agencies. I tell my wife all the time, if we ever lose Fairport Electric, and if we ever lose the landfill, we're moving. Because the tax rate's going to go through the roof. And our electric costs are going to go through. I say that, but she's not going to let me.
We'll take you here.
Perhaps a little bit of explanation. You get 5189 kilowatts as your allotment in hydro. We go over that by almost 2
2.5 megawatts.
2 or 3 megawatts.
Yes.
And when we are engaging those overages, how much more does that cost?
So one thing to clarify, the formula is very complicated. So even though on paper, our contractual demand is 5 megawatts, we'll just round numbers. When you calculate the formula, it's about line loss and transmission, and so we may only get, in a given month, 3.5 megawatts, just for round numbers. And then we have to buy the other 3.5 for purchase power. And that has to do with how the electricity flows from west to east, and this giant 12-page document that I don't ever want to have to understand. that all of our friends at NIPA and our consultants at NIPA manage. So we end up buying supplemental power to make up whatever our demand has to be. And
How
that's
much
a
does that
formula that's
cost?
set. Huh?
Yeah.
And how much does that cost?
So it averages, most of the time, probably 6-7 cents, right? We just authorized the New York Municipal Power Agency to allow them to charge up to 20 cents. This month, they're charging us, was it 16 cents? This month, they're charging us 16 cents. Again, to make up for that $20 million, or that $30 million that we owe.
Do we have any options in terms of where that comes from?
Nope.
Just don't run into that.
It's supply and demand, right? There's way more energy required to keep the lights all on than there are generators out there making electricity.
But I think what you're asking is, can we choose to get nuclear or wind or
Yes.
solar?
Yes.
And the answer is no, we get what we get.
Yep.
It's functional.
Yep.
Right. It's a big word, but that's what it is.
And we are talking about new generation. The state is talking about new generation. The state is talking about wind and solar. The state is talking about nuclear. We're 10 years out for some things. Yeah. Good question.
Is there any way to incentivize folks to use a little less when we get to those points, like by the time they use fees or things like that?
Not by the tariff. Not our tariff doesn't allow for any, like, hey, if you can use your energy at midnight to 8 in the morning, we can give you a break. We don't have that in our tariff.
Okay, that's not something that you just write for the village residents for their billing? What do you mean it's not part of your tariff?
So we have to bill based on what the tariff says we have to bill. But that's the slide I showed you, $3.25 and kilowatt hours and all that. That's the rate we charge. There's no way for us to say, hey, if you use that 750 at midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning, we can cut you another penny off of that. There's no mechanism for us to do that.
No mechanism for it.
It's not in our tariff, so we're not allowed to do it. When I was at Monroe County, we used to run our pumps at midnight to pump probably 30 million gallons into the wastewater plant from midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, that worked really well for a long time until we started to change some of the treatment system. We were saving a lot of money initially, and then when that slug of waste came up into the wastewater plant, all of our aeration system kicked on full blast because we had all this slug of septic. So when you started doing the numbers, it's like we're losing money. So let that come in on a regular basis, at a regular rate, and keep the aeration system more happy and steady.
Sure,
We're not.
that's a system you can plan on that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
But we had a break. We got a break because it helped us with our peak demand.
No. It just would be great if village residents had an opportunity to shift their usage such that it was advantageous to the village.
So if we could reduce our peak demands, that would save us all a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? It would save us all a lot of money. But there's not like I can give you a penny, save you a penny a kilowatt hour. I can't do that. There's no mechanism for that.
Hey, to be stupid, but the tariff, is that something established by New York State?
Public Service Commission.
We can maybe convince people to do it out of the goodness of their heart.
I mean, I did it out of the goodness of my wallet because I got an $800 bill in February last year. And I was like, okay, we're not doing that again. My January, February, March bills were
Well,
$800-900.
What I'm saying is, based on the tariff, there is no opportunity to incentivize village residents to do anything different. So what I'm saying is, you're going to have to appeal to the goodness of their heart to do something that will not save them any money, but it might save the village some money.
It'll save you money. If we can limit how many times we go into purchase power, we're all saving money,
Okay.
right? So if you can become more energy efficient, the reality is, Lori and I were looking at it back, I think we have gotten into supplemental power every single month of the year. So our energy usage, winter and the summer, every month, very little, well, actually none. Every month we've had purchase power adjustments, every single month. So every single month, we're going over our our allotments, every single month, right?
And what time of day are we usually peaking?
Oh, I did know that. I knew someone was going to ask me. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember what that was. It was like mid-afternoon in June was one of those days. Ironically, that question got brought up to us when we were talking to National Grid about the Fennel Street project. What's your maximum load? So I started asking people, what's our maximum load? They're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. That's a weird question. So our consultant went back 20 years, and he's like, wow, you just hit your peak for 20 years in June of 25. That's the highest you've ever had. And he did tell me the time it was, and I can't remember now. Prior to that, it was December. It was like a December 23 or something like that, where it was peak. But he sent me a slide. He sent me a picture of 24 and 25, and it was all the same. Maybe a couple of months at just under 5, and the rest are 6, 5, 9, 6, 3.
How was the impact of something like school district, or other large consumers?
So large consumers have a different rate, but it still impacts the hydro. They pay more, slightly more, not a lot more, but they pay more. They also pay by demand, some of the really big ones. So they pay more for electricity, and they pay the appropriate share of the purchase power. But it is taking us over our hydro allotments. Now the community center is kind of a different animal because they provide jobs. We got an extra allotment of energy for them. So that's part of the Power Authority program. If you can provide jobs, they give you like 100 megawatts for every 2.5 people that you employ. So every year we report how much energy they used and how many people they have every year. That's their incentive to try to help the economy.
When they did the historical, that 20-year, did they look at growth rate as well as the amount of consumers, the amount of customers? Is there a growth in year-over-year of customers?
They just went back and looked at it.
Yeah.
They just went back and said, okay, let's look at all the energy that they've used. They didn't divide it out by customer.
If there are no more questions, I just wanted to say thank you. And in 2 weeks, we will have a session on water and sewer, and I wish you would spread the word, invite your friends. Maybe I should make cookies. But I hope this has been helpful. I can promise you that, and Kate can attest to this, that if you ask questions of the village, we will answer.
Yes, she
So-
did, and we're going higher. And it's all about electricity and the costs that are coming to us. And I was afraid to ask this question. How much do the data center that supplies us, does that affect our bill, data centers? Because they draw a lot of energy too. Those are the giant buildings that house servers and stuff to keep up with our digital demands.
I mean, they use the same energy that we're using. They get it from somebody else, not from our allotments.
We don't have any data centers
don't have any
here.
data
So
centers.
now, but since we've got 3, why don't we make a 4th? Let's have a Skaneateles data center. I'm just kidding.
Kate, please.
I know.
But anyway, Kate reached out to me and I, answered a question. And whoever you talk to, whether it's one of our board members, whether it's Tom or Kaz, we will do our best to try to sort things out for you.